Hello, good evening. Welcome to the programme.
Good evening. Coming up tonight, losing a lifeline. Families say the closure of a North Yorkshire day centre would have a catastrophic impact on their lives.
They're putting money over disabled and vulnerable people, and that to me is completely unforgivable.
Police arrest a woman over the death of a young girl who was pulled from a pond on a golf course.
In peak condition, Britain's very first national park celebrates 75 years, but just how secure is its future?
And what will the skies look like above all of our region's green spaces over the next few days? Join me a little later for the full weekend forecast.
Parents of disabled adults say the closure of a day centre in North Yorkshire would be catastrophic for both them and their children.
They were informed out of the blue and only last week that the Corwood Centre in Malton could shut, with a decision due to be finalised in a few days' time.
North Yorkshire Council say they'll replace the service, but they're being accused of putting money before vulnerable people. Katie Oscroft reports.
Right, so you sit on that, sit.
Matty spends most of his time with his dad. Stuart lost his wife last year and she was their son's main carer.
Just pull. That's it.
So the 2 days Matty spends at Corwood are the only time his dad can work. The sudden news that the place where Matty looks forward to going may close is a shock.
I would have to give up work. My mental health is suffering already because of it. And the stress that it would put on Matthew is unimaginable. Hold on to there. That's it. I don't want to put him through that, and we shouldn't have to. Move your legs as though you're walking. That's it. They're putting money over disabled and vulnerable people, and that to me is completely unforgivable.
It's like a home from home for her. It's a safe place for her.
Mickey's daughter Natasha is 25. She loves her days at Corwood. He's having treatment for cancer, so it's respite for him too.
The prospect of closing is a bit beyond her comprehension at the moment. She will be stressed out about it. Any change is a real nightmare for her.
And it's more difficult for you?
It's, well, we as parents battle on. I will always battle for her. But, yeah, it's just, it's going to be difficult.
And this is Jason Hewitson. His parents are equally worried and say closure would have a devastating effect on their whole family. Their local councillor wants the plans put on pause.
We're talking here about some of the most severely disabled, most vulnerable people in our society. Their families were called to a meeting last week. They were told that a decision would be taken in a matter of days, 12 days, to close this centre. That's without any consultation, without discussion.
North Yorkshire Council describes this as a difficult decision and says it's looking at providing alternative community-based solutions. Corwood, it says, is an older building and no longer fit for purpose. One disability charity says North Yorkshire Council isn't the only authority shutting day centres like this.
If you attend one, and that's where you have all your social interaction, that's where you see your friends, that's where you get a bit of time away from your family, it's where you get a bit of a chance to become a bit more independent. They're absolutely vital. And they're also vital for your families because they need a bit of a break.
Do you like going to Corwood? Yeah.
Matty, meanwhile, is becoming aware of the possible changes which are already causing his dad sleepless nights. They and the other families want an urgent rethink of plans which they say would turn their lives upside down. Katie Oscroft, ITV News, Malton.
In other news tonight, a woman has been arrested over the death of a 7-year-old girl who died after she was pulled from a pond on a golf course in Doncaster. Nyla May Bradshaw died at Doncaster Royal Infirmary on the 30th of March following the incident at Ouston Golf Course. Nyla, who had autism, was the youngest of 3 children. A woman in her 30s arrested on suspicion of gross negligence manslaughter and child neglect has since been bailed pending further inquiries.
A teenager who stabbed his stepfather and dog to death in their North Derbyshire home had kill lists on his phone and said he wanted to end so many lives. Logan Proctor was 19 when he inflicted more than 70 knife wounds on 57-year-old Christopher Owen in October last year. Today, Derby Crown Court heard that he then stabbed their Jack Russell to death because he thought it would make him feel unique. Proctor pleaded guilty to murder and was jailed for life with a minimum term of 20 years.
Police in Sheffield say they've conducted house-to-house inquiries as they search for a missing teenager last seen 48 hours ago. 15-year-old Caitlin is described as 5'4" with shoulder-length mousy-coloured hair and was last seen in the Darnell area of the city. Officers have been looking through CCTV footage and searching addresses where they believe she may have been staying.
It's a heartbreak that many of our local farmers know all too well. The devastating sight of livestock injured or even killed by a dog that's off its lead.
But the law is finally biting back. Owners now face unlimited fines and the very real risk of losing their pets if they let them roam out of control.
So if you're heading out for a stroll this weekend, the message from our Yorkshire farmers is simple. Keep your dogs close and keep them on a lead. Nick Smith has more.
Spring can be one of the busiest periods of the year if you're a sheep farmer. Like Helen Rhodes, who runs a mixed farm near Barnsley. And as the weather gets warmer, you tend to see more dog walkers out exploring the countryside. But Helen says the risk of attacks on her livestock is a problem she's all too aware of.
We've lost a few, we've had to euthanize a few, so it's frustrating, it's upsetting, to be honest. You know, you're looking after those sheep and you go and find one that's had it. You know, we've had instances where the throats have been torn out, others have, you know, where they've had them by the leg, and that, you know, they're quite seriously injured. Apart from this, you know, the financial impact, yeah, actually dealing with a sheep in that state is not a nice thing to have to do.
According to insurance company NFU Mutual, dog attacks on livestock caused more than £2 million in financial losses across the UK last year, a record high.
People just need to bear in mind the countryside code. It's so important. It gives a real guide of how people can best interact with the countryside.
Those at the Country Land and Business Association tell me that farmers need to keep reporting these incidents, however small.
The 2 million would be perhaps the tip of the iceberg, because on busy footpaths, dogs might be worrying sheep all the time but not actually attacking. That can lead to a loss of condition and also abortion. It's absolutely imperative that farmers continue to report these matters. Those figures will go into determining where the police place the resources next year.
The risk to dog owners isn't just criminal sanctions. They could face losing their pets altogether if found guilty.
Keeping a dog on a short lead around livestock is the single most effective way to avoid any incidents. Checking collars, harnesses and leads before you take your dog out to make sure that they're fit for purpose. It's essential that you can recall your dog in an emergency. However, recall alone around livestock is not enough. The best trained dogs can just have that instinctive thought kick in.
For dog owners and farmers alike, the panic of a potential attack on livestock can be an awful experience. But the government hopes these new laws will provide a proper incentive to take extra precautions when walking near farmland. Nick Smith, ITV News.
Right, well, this is, of course, Friday night's calendar, and still to come on the programme tonight. In sport, York City could be promoted back to the Football League this weekend. We'll get the thoughts of 96-year-old superfan Dorian Adams.
And the skies have looked pretty much like this for much of today, even some lively showers and gusty winds for a time. I promise you it's looking better for the weekend, and of course all the detail a little later on.
Thank you, Kerry. Now we're going to one of the jewels of our region next, the Peak District, which is today celebrating 75 years since it was designated the UK's first national park.
But there are questions about its future, with calls for more stable funding after a decade of cuts. Well, Ben Basin joins us now from Monsell Head. And Ben, the Peak District has been on something of a journey, I think it's fair to say.
It absolutely has, Ian, and it's views like this one behind me which mean people have flocked here from around the world. It's absolutely stunning, isn't it? You're right, 1951 is when the Peak District was designated as the UK's first national park. Since then, hundreds of million of visitors have been here. In fact, this is the UK's most accessible public park as well. 20 million people live within an hour of this place. So with high visitor numbers and a tricky financial situation, bosses who run this national park have got their work cut out to protect and preserve it into the future. Sweeping landscapes, historic communities, breathtaking beauty. Covering 555 square miles and reaching into 5 counties, the Peak District National Park welcomes millions of visitors every year from across the world. And today is a very big birthday, 75 years.
There's so much history to it. It's a working, living landscape.
Hayden is one of 12 rangers across the park, and for her, there's no better place to work.
I love talking to people, I do. It's really fun. It's nice to see people enjoying the national park. It's nice to know that you're making a difference in their visit and also protecting the landscape for generations to come. It's the best feeling, best job.
And what an amazing place to work as well, out in nature.
I'm so lucky, very much. The best office you could ask for.
It was on the 17th of April 1951 when the Peak District was designated Britain's first national park.
They're all there, these ramblers, tall and short.
It followed a decades-long campaign for public access to the UK's countryside, which included mass protests on the hills of the peaks. But quarter of a century on, and the authority which runs the park is facing very real pressures, with increasing visitor numbers and 10 years of budget cuts, which have seen many job losses.
If government funding is going to decline, then we have to look at other ways to bring resources in, and we've been very entrepreneurial and creative here in the Peak District, and being able to look at developing our car parking sites, our cafes and visitor hubs. So we're going to have to do more of that, but we do need a core grant that's big enough to be able to provide the planning function, to provide all the back office stuff that then allows us to get the other money in to continue delivering those benefits for the nation.
The government says it's providing an uplift of £23 million to support national parks. For many, the key to protecting this landscape lies in engaging young people in its future, something the authority is actively trying to do.
People lead very busy lives, especially young people in this day and age, and I think it's not only about sharing what can be done, but also making it accessible, providing those opportunities, those public transport solutions. We need young people moving to the peaks, living and working in the peaks, so that we can sustain those communities, grow the communities. We've got 75 years of incredible history. We're going to play a massive part in the next 75 years.
Morning, everyone. Great to see you here. Very important day for us.
To mark the anniversary today, a sapling was planted from the felled tree at Sycamore Gap in Northumberland. A symbol of optimism that despite its challenges, there are fresh shoots of hope in the National Park's mission to protect the Peak District for generations to come. Ben Mason, ITV News, near Beckwell.
An absolutely beautiful part of the world.
Oh, yeah, it makes you want to go there, doesn't it?
Definitely, yes. Lovely place to be. Now then, on to weekend sport now, and I think there's plenty of it coming up. Here's Chris.
Loads going on, Ian. Yeah, the World Snooker Championships get underway this weekend. Snooker Loopy, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got some Yorkshire interest as well, don't you know? And after a couple of relegations already in the football, well, we could be celebrating a promotion this weekend.
Powering local sport in the community. Octopus Energy sponsors ITV Regional Sports Report.
Now, 10 years after they were relegated from the Football League, York City could be promoted back there this weekend if results go for them. Now, this is the situation at the top of the National League as we speak. Look at that, a real shootout between those top two teams, York City and Rochdale, with 2 games to play. And as fate would have it, those two play each other in the last game of the season next weekend. It could well be a very nervy couple of weeks, but for one York City fan, well, she's seen it all before.
On he goes to centre to Wilkinson. A terrific slam, and York City have clinched the match.
It's Wayne Hall. He's got 1 goal all season. He's won them promotion! In by Nigel Pepper, and a 3rd goal for York. Tony Barras has embarrassed Manchester United.
Some of the greatest moments of York City's past, and Doreen Adams has seen them all. The 96-year-old has been a City fan since the 1940s.
I got interested with friends who were mad on York City. Well, they were really more interested in looking at the players and wondering what they were like. and in fact, one of them I did go out with, Ron Spence.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
But it didn't last long.
Well, that romance might not have lasted, but Doreen's love for York certainly has. Over the years, she's seen the highs and the lows. 10 years ago, there was anger at Bootham Crescent as York fell out of the Football League. But much has changed since then. A new stadium, new owners, new belief. What would it mean to you to get this club back into the Football League after 10 years out of it?
Well, obviously, it would just mean the world for me, because I know how important it is to, the very, very loyal supporters that have supported this club a lot longer than I've been around. So managers and coaches and everybody, I mean, we're all putting our all into it. So to be rewarded for the hard work that we've all done, then yeah, it would mean the world.
Last weekend's win at Tamworth means York are 2 points clear of their closest rivals Rochdale, with just 2 games left to play. And as fate would have it, the two teams meet in the final game of the season. It's a story that's captured the imagination both here and beyond.
Nice to meet you, I'm Timothy, I'm from L'Équipe in France.
When two teams are going at it and are getting the amount of points that we have got, it doesn't happen very often in the divisions, and it just shows the incredible achievement that us and Rochdale have achieved this season. But it's not over yet. We've got to keep fighting. There's 2 more to go. 2 big games for the football club.
I bet you're glad that interview wasn't in French.
Yeah, I was worried that I was going to try and come back with a little bit of a French accent to try and reply, which you hear in interviews sometimes, but I managed to stay away from it.
So do you think York City will get promoted this season?
Yes.
You had to think about that.
Yeah, well, I'm a bit nervous about it, really, as I suppose everybody else is. But I think they've got every chance. Yeah.
This is Paul Barnes. Oh, it's gone in!
So whether it's tomorrow or next week, Doreen and her beloved York City could soon be celebrating another famous moment in the club's history. Let's hope they do it for Doreen now. Well, staying with football, and Leeds United could go some way towards securing their Premier League status for next season if they beat bottom club Wolves at Ellen Road tomorrow afternoon. Now, after Monday night's historic win at Manchester United, the Whites are 6 points clear of Spurs in the final relegation spot. However, manager Daniel Farke isn't taking anything for granted.
We know how difficult this game will be, especially because, and quite normal after such amazing win, then the home game against a side who's not in the best position on the table, and the expectations are unbelievably high. These are the most difficult games, and if you have a deeper look, more or less, into the performances and the results of Wolves, there is no reason not to stay humble and to think it's in any aspect easy. It will be a very difficult game.
Now, the World Snooker Championships get underway this weekend at its spiritual home of the Crucible Theatre in Sheffield. Today, the 16 best players in the world pose for photographs with the World Championship trophy itself. And competing on the famous green baize for the very first time this year will be 20-year-old Liam Pullen from York. He takes on number 13 seed Chris Wakelin in his first round tie on Tuesday.
Never played it before, but last time I was here was 2018 to watch Higgins and Williams in the final. And yeah, it was just special to be there. I was only 12, so yeah, to be playing here now is it's a great feeling. I've grown up watching all of this, and yeah, there's obviously legends of the sport that have played here and that I admire and look up to. Yeah, it's just going to be weird that I'm going to be walking out there.
Also this weekend, the Sheffield Steelers have their last chance to add some silverware at the end of what's been a fairly disappointing season for them. After missing out on both the Elite League title and cup, the Steelers travel to Nottingham for the end of season playoffs, where they'll play Manchester in tomorrow's semi-final.
I thought we showed last weekend what we're all about when we're playing the right way, and just up the compete level, up the energy. We'll need that for 2 games this weekend, and everything to play for here. Fun weekend down in Nottingham with the fans, and a little bit of us against everyone mindset when we get down there. So it should be a fun weekend.
Best of luck to them. Now, you two, we all know that sport is more than just what happens on an ice rink or a Premier League football pitch, don't we? Well, it's about the people right here in our neck of the woods who give up their time to get everyone moving. Now, this weekend, some of them, including our very own Winter Olympian Leon Greenwood from Batley, are being honoured at the Sporting Equals Awards. James Webster now reports.
Encouraging new talent into sport is a passion for Team GB's Leon Greenwood, who's from Batley. He's just back from competing in the bobsled at the Winter Olympics, and he's nominated as the Sportsman of the Year at the Sporting Equals Awards.
Even before I became an Olympian, I thought it was my job to make sure to inspire the next generation. I come from a place where not many opportunities were given to me. I had to go out and search for them. So now I go into schools. I've spoken to over 40,000 students in the last 2 years, and I'm just trying to make sure they know that, to show them how to create their own path, show them how to be successful, show them that hard work does pay off.
This weekend, the 9th Sporting Equals Awards will celebrate individuals and organisations from grassroots level to elite sportsmen and women that help people from all backgrounds into sport.
That's why we exist, to make it clear to them that they can be great sports stars at some point in the future. So those opportunities that are sparse in various areas, we're going to amplify the voices of those individuals in those areas so that at some point in the future, they're going to be in a position that we're in and creating opportunities for others going forwards.
As well as honouring those working in their communities, there'll also be 2 Lifetime Achievement Awards. The first to Roland Butcher, the first black cricketer to represent England.
Well, listen, this is unbelievable. It's not something that I expected. I mean, to receive the same awards as some of the greats that's played several sports, and to join that group is a great honour.
And Maggie Alfonsi, the World Cup winning rugby union player.
The grassroots level, the community, is where we find our superstars. When we get to the top, when they represent their country, that's incredibly special, but we must always recognise where they've come from.
There are now more opportunities to participate than when Roland and Maggie were younger, but they also both agree there are yet more barriers to break down to find the sporting talent of tomorrow. James Webster, ITV News.
Sounds like it'll be a great bash tonight, wouldn't it? Yeah, that's your sport.
Thank you very much indeed. Thank you.
Well, if you're just getting in from a long day at work and you may be complaining just a little bit that you're tired, take a moment to think about Coralie May from Doncaster.
Yes, Coralie has been grafting for 35 years. Nothing too special, you might think, but she's 90 and all of it has been unpaid. She took a quick break to talk to Helen Steele.
It's all hands to the deck at Doncaster Royal Infirmary's hospital shop today.
Soon be dinner time.
It's not long until Coralie May's break, and it's a well-deserved one.
Tell me about all these. You've got a lot of badges on there.
Yes, I have, yeah. That one was when I'd done 10 years. Yeah. That one was when I'd done 20 years. Yeah. And then that one was 30 years.
After decades of voluntary service, she had a major setback, with multiple falls leaving her in a care home.
I can't fault the people. It was just that, 60 people sharing a toilet, and all I wanted was to go home.
But then when you made that step to come back to work, did you ever think you were doing that again?
Oh yeah, that was the only thing on my mind. And it's £1.20, so you have.
When she did return, Coralie also had to master a new till system.
I have no idea. You tell me how you use this then.
Well, when the customer comes up with...
Customer comes in, and?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. You've got to... And then tell the customer it's £1.20.
Yep.
Cash or card.
Sorry, Anne, please.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a pro.
Do you find that easy then?
I can that bit now. I've been training long enough.
Time to see Coralie in action with some real customers. And the chat soon turns to her upcoming 35-year service award.
When I've done another 7 months, it'll be a special one.
It's clear she's a hit with the customers.
It makes you feel at ease. You're in a hospital, so you're not feeling at ease. You're in here for a reason.
Oh, well, look, as soon as you walk in, smile on your face, very open, isn't she?
I'm always smiling.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I've been here 35 years.
Shops wouldn't be here without people like her.
The Royal Voluntary Service operates nearly 200 cafes and shops in hospitals across Britain, and they always need more people like Coralie.
Coralie had always been so fit and active and volunteering in all the projects that it was nothing for her to do than watch daytime TV, and if she can do it, anybody can, yeah.
You're getting your 35-year award. Are you going for your 40?
Yes. I'm trying. It's a funny thing, this, because my eldest son there, he keeps saying to me, I want to see 00 there, Mum. So I've got to keep going until I'm 100.
Wow.
Given that goal, we left her to her well-earned dinner break.
So, Coralie, thank you so much, and we'll be back when you're 100, right?
Yes.
OK,
yes.
thank you. See you
Okay,
later.
thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
Oh, isn't she lovely, Coralie? Thank you so much for agreeing to chat to us on Calendar.
That was brilliant. Yes, you're doing a great job. Much appreciated. And someone else doing a great job, of course, is our Kerry with the eye on the weekend weather.
Yeah, I'm not sure I can top that. I moan about I'm tired all the time. We need to be a bit more Coralie, don't we? So how can I make the feel-good better, even more feel-good? Well, listen to this. Hats off to Whitby School, who've been taking care of a mallard mum who laid her eggs in the school grounds. They had to call in Whitby Wildlife Sanctuary so they could relocate the now ducklings, which hatched yesterday, yay, and release them back into a more natural habitat near water, along the River Esk. A successful mission, and I tried to count, and I think there's 14 ducklings there. That's absolutely amazing.
I
isn't
want
it?
some ducklings.
I want some ducklings.
I do.
Sean's got some ducklings in Ossett. There's not quite 14 there. What's that? Well, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Absolutely brilliant. So yes, a family-friendly weekend. We've got high pressure in charge, which is good. Of course, forecast coming up. I thought I would just give you a nudge to the overnight temperatures Saturday into Sunday morning, because that's not part of the forecast, because we've got overnight lows of around -2 in rural spots. So if you do have any little tender plants, you might need to give them a little bit of a duvet and an extra covering, I should say, into the early hours, because under clearer skies and light winds with high pressure, that's what will happen Sunday morning. As it nudges north, was just a heads up for next week. It won't be as warm as this week because our air is coming in from a northwesterly quarter. So we've got high pressure to the north and we've got low pressure to the south. There's no snowmageddon or anything like that, but it will feel very different compared to this week that we've had, of course, 5 degrees higher than we'd expect for the time of year. And I think probably it will be back to normal next week, but in that northwesterly, particularly out towards the coast, it is going to be on the chilly side. Here's the detail.
A clear start makes way for a day of ancient discoveries. TUI sponsors ITV Yorkshire Weather.
Yes, a calmer and eventually drier story as we work our way through the weekend. Today, predominantly cloudy, can promise definitely a bit more in the way of sunshine over the coming few days as high pressure builds. Dry and bright for many by day, especially by the time we reach Sunday, but it will be chilly by night under the clearer skies and lighter winds, especially on Saturday night into Sunday. We've had a day of 3 types of weather. We've been in thirds today. It was cloudy and mild to begin, this weather front coming through. The winds whipping up, some showery outbreaks, and now behind it clearer skies as we head deeper into this evening and overnight tonight. We could see a few showers to parts of North and West Yorkshire, but I think for most of us it's fairly quiet. Dry with clear spells and relatively light winds by dawn, but enough of a breeze to prevent anything like a widespread frost. But in rural spots, a 3 or 4, it's definitely a fresher night tonight compared to last night. 6 o'clock and 8:13 are your sun times as we head into tomorrow.
Saturday isn't too bad, but we are expecting a few showers to feed in along the westerly flow. So from west-east, at least for a time, you could catch a sharp shower the middle part of the day. But for most of us, it's bright. There's still a bit of a breeze tomorrow. The high pressure's still building from the southwest. But in the sunshine, not too bad. 14, possibly even a 15 Celsius. As the high continues to build, we've got a mostly dry and bright day on Sunday. Maybe a tiny bit more cloud pushing into North Yorkshire later on. Highs of 13, pretty much near average. And then a few showers on Monday. We've got a northeasterly, so it will be fairly cool, especially out towards the coast.
TUI sponsors ITV Yorkshire Weather.
There you go. So keep the layers of clothes handy into next week. It's still only April, isn't it?
You've got a rainbow behind you.
Oh, I love a rainbow. Signs of things improving earlier on today. A big thank you to Sandy and Blossom for the shots.
Oh.
There you go.
Lovely, isn't
So it's not weather for ducks.
No, definitely not. A lot of dry weather to
That's
come.
good. We like that. Have a great weekend, whatever you're doing. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.